This week on the Heroes, Villains, and Sidekicks show, we'll be continuing our multi-part series on the origin of The Walking Dead's biggest baddie, Negan, and his deadly friend Lucille. And that's what we'll be doing on the Heroes, Villains, and Sidekicks show. We'll be learning and talking about the origins and backstories of heroes, villains, and sidekicks throughout the comic book universe and pop culture. We'll look at popular heroes and obscure characters you may have never heard of, but I think you'll really dig. So here's a quick recap of part 1 of the series. We learned that Negan, before the zombie apocalypse, was a high school PE teacher, which totally cracked me up and made perfect sense. He then curses out some students, his wife tells him she has cancer, and then collapses. Now remember, these are only 4 pages. That was the story. So let's pick up with issue 2 of Here's Negan, where we learn a little bit more about who Negan is and what made him the man we know and fear. And remember, this show will contain spoilers. The story opens up right where we left off. Negan's wife is lying on the ground, barely conscious. Negan bends over here and calls out for help, telling an onlooker to call 911. The next page opens at a hospital where Negan is sitting at the bedside with his wife. He looks visibly shaken. It's strange to see a bit of humanity in the man we know from later issues in the TV show. Just then a doctor comes in and gives them the bad news. He doesn't say it, but in the last panel we see Negan holding his crying wife. Again, it's strange to see Negan's caring side. He loves her, you can tell. He's very distraught, and the emotion is there in the page. And the third page is just fantastic. We see a sort of a montage here. Negan is delivering a massive blow to a punching bag. Then he is coaching some kids, really just mundane stuff. Then he is lovingly walking his wife into the house. She holds him delicately. He's holding her. It's a very sweet moment, which makes the last panel of the page slightly strange. We see in the last panel, Negan is on top of a woman having sex. He does not look like his head's in the game, and he's glancing sideways. And it's page 4 that's a gut punch. In the first panel, we get a look at who Negan is having sex with, and it's not his wife. Negan climbs off her and sits on the edge of the bed and informs his mistress that his wife has cancer. And that's it. That's the end of page 4. Remember? 4-issue stories. So why I was talking so much about how caring he was and how it was interesting to see this emotion, this touching emotion that he has for his wife, and then to learn, bang, in the last page, that he's having an affair during all this, and obviously before it, was just like, wow, this is who this character is. So what have we learned about Negan? He's complex, yes. In the reading, in the book, we can tell this isn't the governor. This is a dangerous man, because he can think, he can plan, he can make decisions. And they are the best decisions most of the time for him. Remember, he's kept a whole lot of people alive for quite some time in these comic pages. We might not agree with how he does things, but again, he has kept these people alive. And these 4 pages have really given me some insight into the character. And as usual, I cannot wait to read more. And we're going to take a quick break from our story and hear from our sponsor, Discount Comic Book Service, dcbservice.com. Now, this is a service where you order your comics. They come minimum 40% off. Now, I've been using these guys for years, early 2000. Get my books every time in perfect shape. You can either go to the site and you can order through their website, or you can go to their site and download an Excel sheet that matches up with Preview's catalog, what Diamond puts out for you to order your books. And that's what I do. I download the Excel sheet, I use the Preview's catalog that I get from DCB Service, and I order my books. And you just put a little 1 next to the thing. I'm looking at my Excel sheet right now for October, and there are some incredible sales as usual. Like, here's one. The Discount Comic Book Service has got the DC Universe Rebirth bundle number 1 for 50% off. So that is all of these titles in the DC Rebirth series. So it's Action Comics 961, Action Comics 970, Aquaman 12, Aquaman 13, Batman 12. Ton of comics, 19 books, half off right off the bat. Then they've got different bundles. They've got the new Justice League Suicide Squad number 1 for 50% off. All these things 50% off. So If we take a look at my order, my final order, and it looks like I have 24 books that if you were to buy them at your local, it would be $83.78. And my discount, since they're 40 to 50% off, was $35. So that brings my subtotal to $48.78. Now there is a shipping fee, and it's a $6.95 shipping fee, and that's to get your books monthly. If you want them every 2 weeks or weekly, shipping is a little bit more. I've been finding monthly works out just fine for my schedule. So at the end, 24 books, 24 books, because one of them was previews, is $55.73 instead of $83.78. Now that's a huge savings. Again, I've been using it for years, perfectly shipped, wrapped tight, a lot of padding, never had a problem. So check it out, Discount Comic Book Service, dcbservice.com. Well, I want to thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Heroes, Villains, and Sidekicks show. We'll have another installment of Here's Negan next week here on the show. Our theme music is by Broke for Free, and you can find links to other music from the show on our website, heroesvillainsandsidekicks.com. There you can listen to the show, subscribe via whichever service you use, whether it be iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. And if you have time, please leave us a rating over on iTunes when you subscribe. It would really help us out. And if you have any recommendations on heroes or villains or sidekicks from comics or pop culture you want to hear about, go ahead and leave some comments on the site. Again, I want to thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week with more. Take care.